So I'll quickly sum up what we have heard in the last 40-45 minutes. So the broad motive of the three talks has been about the spiritual dimension in art, or the depiction of spirituality in art. I think Arjunji talked about art being, he took a cue from what so he took a cue from what Dr. Mohan Bhagwat mentioned in the plenary sessions about every aspect of life being a tool for Chitta Shuddhi. He mentioned that art too should be a tool for Chitta Shuddhi. It should be a way to travel inwards. Dr. Asthana talked about how dilution of Hindu art has happened over the years. She mentioned how Shringar has contaminated, if I may use the word, bhakti, which used to exist in Bharat. And last but not the least, there has been a constant dilution and misrepresentation in the name of creative liberty. Aren't we used to it? We see it all the time around us. And that has happened everywhere, and that's a pretty alarming sign which she has mentioned. But we ended on a positive note. Sunilji talked about a roadmap of how we can revive and propagate Hindu art further, and he has given a beautiful vision, almost like a proper vision document in the limited time we had. Anyway, so that's it. We'll open the session, open it up for Q&A. So in case any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Anybody with any questions? She has the mic, so please raise your hands if you have a question.
Anurag Meral from Stanford University. Namaste. Wonderful talks. Question, I'm an educator, and this is a session on education. Do you see value in dance being part of the core curriculum in the school system, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade or beyond? And would that actually help mitigate some of the risks that were talked about at the time?
Definitely, as educators, the syllabus right from the beginning is the best way to begin. When we think of core things that are within dance, that the act of being in the present moment. When you dance, your entire body is involved in that present moment. That's why how Arjunji said Brahmananda Sahodara. You, without teaching them yoga, without teaching them how to meditate, just by making a toddler dance, just by making people dance, first you bring them into the habit of being in the present moment. That is a huge skill for anyone today, whether it's for stress management, life management, first of all. Secondly, through the narratives associated with dance, you can continuously teach them different beautiful values, or the 4 Purusharthas, within that system of education, and these have to be built over the years. Suddenly it is not possible. I feel that at the age of a postgraduate student, you learn the entire thing in all the levels. Like any other, like to be an engineer, I was previously a chemical engineer. I trained for many years, and it built over the years. If I was not interested in science as a child, I would not get into an IIT or a UVCT and become an engineer there. So I think this kind of training, not necessarily for them to become performers, or not necessarily to take up dance or music or Bharatiya Kala as a performative aspect or a career, but as a life skill. That is what the syllabus can do, because that is what is there within our tradition, that this is a life skill. Everyone can use music, dance, yoga as a part of their growth, their life, and whatever they want to manifest. Becoming a performer is a separate aspect that need not be the focus of teaching it within the syllabus.
If I may add to what Sunilji just said just a moment. There are many good musicians today and also dancers. They are presenting content, but they don't know what they are presenting. You made that point in your presentation as well. So it's grounding in the Puranas, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata from the youngest of the day through authentic sources. That's extremely important, I think. See, today, any Bharatiya thinks that he has the authority to say anything about the Ramayana, the Mahabharata and the Purana. But only a person who has gone through it in the original should be considered labeled. Of course, there are many traditional narratives as well, they have their own value. But then there is a lot of distortion in the name of Ramayana, Mahabharata and Puranas, especially. To imagine the Sanatana Dharma without these kinds of works, these two literary works, the Arsh Kavyas, seem not possible at all. So the musicians and the dancers have to be educated about what these themes actually symbolize and what they actually mean. So education will have to happen at several different levels. Next question.
Good afternoon. I come from Malaysia. I just have a question. How do you maintain this narratives in a multiracial country where the non-Hindus are also beginning to learn the art form? How does that happen? Because I think they are more into just the entertainment or probably how do you maintain the narrative in a multiracial country? It's not just the Hindus who are learning the. Okay.
See, there are few points. One, you present the things, the one is getting affected by that. They are willing to adopt that. Not even abroad, but in our own country. Like I was working in the remote areas of the India, like Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, the border areas where the lot of conversion is there. So I was teaching them and I tried to mold them in our main street because they are more near to the border areas, they are not near to us. So once they learn your things, then the things they are involved, nothing to be changed. But the thing is first, they should be given a good exposure. Like if you are offered a coffee and it is very bitter the first time, then next time when I offer the coffee, you will say no to it. But given the first exposure to them, it should be giving a small dose of little composition like that. Once our ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Relations, is looking after the foreign students, they are coming to our institutions also, learning different forms from Japan, Indonesia, many other countries also. So what's the thing is we are giving a scholarship and those girls are learning and boys are also learning and they are performing. Once they go to their country, they are teaching. But taking musicians and all to another country and then teaching them becomes a problem because we have now this art is surviving in a handful of people. Those who are traditionally learned this through parampara. So it is getting small exposure also. And the students, those who come and learn from good gurus, they go to their country and they expand the same lessons to their other students as they have learned from them. Not only the dance and music, but also we have parampara, जिसे हम आचरण कहते हैं, how to go, how to do the charan sparsh of the guru and all. This is also the acharan. Through acharan we learn the education. It is not only learning dance and then presenting it. पात्र भी सुपात्र हो, लेकिन उस पात्र में जो चीज़ हो वो भी सुपात्र हो, दोनों का कॉम्बिनेशन है. इसलिए it's difficult to take out the tradition. That's why it's in the handful people. But through seeing this time, our government, especially the Indian Council of Cultural Relations, they are taking many major steps to promote as many to as many countries they can do it, and sending good artists and young artists to the other countries also.
I'll just like to share one experience that we have had. I come from the World Forum for Art and Culture, which is the culture wing of the Art of Living Foundation. And we reach out to more than 181 countries at the moment through our various dance programs, which are both online, some offline. Arjunji actually teaches Ramayana, Mahabharata, a lot of Sanskrit texts at our organization also. So what in India, what the same problem we face even in India, that right now even most in Bharat, students are not aware of our own languages, our own culture. So what we do is initially we teach them some technique because that attracts them. For example, if we take the dance form of Kathak, they love the chakkars, they love the tatkar. And through the form of small songs, which are geet, some abhinay is taught to them. Here we have a freedom. In India what we do is, depending on the state, if it's Maharashtra, Marathi song is taken, if it's Orissa and Odia song is taken, and the same thing we are doing across the world. using the content of the Indian stories like Rama, Radha, Krishna, we write a song in that language, few songs, simple songs. So that becomes a medium for them because the poetry becomes your first connection, in the sense in a language that you're familiar with. In that you start learning the abhinaya or the narrative, and then once the student gets interested, you can introduce that student to other languages and compositions in other languages, or composition in Brij Bhasha, Awadhi, Tamil, based on whatever dance form or music form you're teaching. So we need to go stepwise. We need to start with the body, then start playing with the mind, and that through small compositions that we give them in a language that they are familiar with. Then next bring them into the languages of Bharat, and that's how you can progress that along. That's the route that we are following, and we've seen some success. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, my question would be with a little different perspective. My wife has been teaching Kathak for the last about 25-30 years in the States. I was just wondering, and I didn't expect this nice session to be present here. I'm missing her now, she's in the States. I wish she was here. But the question would be, some of the syllabuses you mentioned, or literature, or books, are there anything that I could buy from, or that you could give me reference to, how I could make her life easier? I mean, she has plenty of students, but to gather more interest into the subject, as you've been very creative as to how to plant them into Kathak schools, so to say. Are your syllabuses open to the public that they can buy from you, or
Yes,
I don't know what the secret
Arjunji has written more than 15 books. Dr. Puru Dadish, who's one of the greatest scholars in Kathak in India, he has written a number of books which have now been translated into English, especially for students in US or outside. So you know, there are a lot of English books which have the correct content, because many times books in English have wrong translations and wrong content. So we have to be a little careful that they have been translated appropriately. Translation is also an art. So we can give you, post this session, give you a list of references, page where I think you would like to share.
A couple of other things. The Amarachitra illustrated comics are very authentic. They are very well researched. And there is also this Rashtrottana Parishad around India, which is an RSS wing, branch out of for the educational stream. They have many schools, and they have innumerable books written in English as well as Hindi and all the Desha Bhashas, the regional languages of India. So there are quite a few resources. There is absolutely no dearth. There is no dearth for resources. And there's this website called Preksha, where there's an online journal called Preksha, for which I work as well. So there we have given reading lists for each of these domains. If you want to learn about temple, art, architecture and iconography, what are the authentic sources? See, today I understand that there's a burst of information online, and it's very hard to filter out the good from the bad and from the ugly. So you have to be very thorough with the original sources to actually see through what people are saying. I don't mind quoting names here. See, for example, there is this Devdutt Patnaik, absolutely not reliable. None of his works are reliable, none of his works are appropriately researched. He is writing it with some ulterior motives. That's very evident from the kinds of tweets and the kind of political statements that he makes. So one needs to go, see, the older day Chandamamas were very good. All of them were very beautifully researched. Right? The Amar Chitrakatha, the Chandamama and the Rashtrottana books. You can certainly go through. And there are several other works related to the Natya Shastra as well. Condensed rendition of the Natya Shastra. I have submitted my own manuscript to the IGNCA. It is going to come through that. And there's another English version called Prekshaniyam, which I have authored with another great scholar. So these are simple principles of aesthetics which are available in English, but all rooted in the Bharatiya Nritya, Bharatiya Shastra, Bharatiya Sangeeta Kala.
So we have time for just one more question. We have time for just one more question. And these sources and books,
we'll speak about it.
Yeah. They'll share it with us, and you can probably take it from us later. Last question.
Myself, Dr. Ram Kailash Gupta. We have a university in the name of Sanskrit University. It is located at near Vrindavan, Delhi-Agra highway. Medical and all other areas are there. We have patent and number of PhDs in the area of spiritual and dharma. Highest number of patents in that area. Number 2, we have a college at Delhi affiliated to Khairagarh University, taking a shoot of art and design, performing art, vocal, music, instruments, all areas are there. I don't much of involved in that. My request, if for the Hindu Congress people's
Please keep your question short.
question very little. I'm summing up. Any sort of collaboration, whatever what we can do for our peoples, not money free of cost or whatever. We are ready online, offline, both line. We can provide that. Thank you.
Okay. You have a question? Okay.
व्हाट आई अंडरस्टूड लाइक मैम ने बताया स्टार्टिंग में कि जो डांस है उसको हम स्पिरिचुअलिटी से रिलेट करते हैं एंड हमेशा से डांस चाहे वो कोई भी फॉर्म हो, कथक हो या उड़ीसी भरतनाट्यम, हमेशा से वो भगवान के लिए मतलब एज अ ऑफरिंग हमेशा से यूज़ किया है हमने. बट व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड, व्हाट आई हैव हर्ड ऑल्सो कि डांस को लाइक इन आवर हिस्ट्री राजा के सामने भी मतलब प्रस्तुति की तरह किया जाता था. तो उस टर्म्स में हम डिवोशन पार्ट कैसे समझें?
आपका जो प्रश्न था इनका प्रश्न ये था कि डांस में तो एक उसको भक्ति तो होती है प्रेजेंटेशन में मंदिरों में जैसे हम करते हैं, लेकिन जब आप राजा के सामने करें या ऑडियंस के सामने करें तो उसमें हम उसको कैसे लाएं, ये है आपका प्रश्न. नलिनी जी आप.
देखिए, एक है प्रेजेंटेशन, उसमें आप कुछ भी चीज़ को मोल्ड कर सकते हैं. एक जो आध्यात्मिक चीज़ है वो जो आप ड्राइव करते हैं, मैंने चरण बोला ना, एक तो आप उसे सीखते हैं, अपने अंदर लाते हैं, लेकिन उसको अभिव्यक्त करने का माध्यम आप उसको किस भी तरह से मोल्ड करके कर सकते हैं. लेकिन पहले आप उसे ड्राइव तो करिए, आपके पास आ जाएगा तो उसको किसी भी फॉर्म में कर सकते हैं. लेकिन जो उनके सामने प्रेजेंट करते हैं, बिकॉज इतना डायनेमिक है, जब आप उस विधा को अगर डायनेमिक नहीं होता तो वो लोग क्यों उसको लेते. और उसमें नवरसों की अभिव्यक्ति है जो आपको आकर्षित करती है. तो वही चीज़ को किस तरीके से डाइल्यूट करा अदायगी में, तो उसका मैंने एक तो लिरिक्स से हुआ, एक अभिव्यक्ति से हुआ कि आप किसी को किस तरीके से उस राधा को साकी के रूप में प्रेजेंट करें. तो लिरिकल भी है और प्रेजेंटेशन भी है, लेकिन जो आपने ड्राइव किया वो तो आप अध्यात्म की है. तो उसमें लय तार सुन के जो अभिव्यक्ति थी, जो साधना थी, वो तो पूर्ण तरीके से रही, लेकिन जो उसका प्रेजेंटेशन का माध्यम तो वो बदल जाता है. लेकिन करने वाले को उतनी ही भक्ति करनी पड़ती है, ऐसा नहीं है. लेकिन उसको आप भ्रष्ट रूप में कभी भी हो, आपने एक पेंटिंग बनाई बहुत खूबसूरत है, लेकिन आप उसी पेंटिंग को, एक नारी का चित्र है, उसमें आप उसके मिस्ट्रेचेस बना दीजिए, उसके बाल विकृत कर दिए, तो आपने उसको विकृत कर दिया, लेकिन बनाया तो उसी भाव से था ना. तो सोर्स ऑफ ड्राइव, मैंने इसमें 2 पंक्तियाँ लिखी थी. ओशो जी का शब्द था, नृत्य में वो तुम्हारे साथ होता है. तो नृत्य में तो हमारे साथ तब होगा जब हम नृत्य करेंगे, तो पाओगे उसे तो तुम नाचोगे और नचाओगे भी, उसके आने से ही नृत्य होता है. वो गुनगुनाएगा और तुम नाचोगे, जब तुम वो नहीं रहेगा, तुम नहीं रहोगे. जब तुम और वो एक हो जाओगे, तुम्हारे नृत्य में, तुम्हारी लेखनी में, तुम्हारी आवाज़ में उसका आभास होगा और यही आगाज़ होगा. तो ये साधना की चीज़ है, साधना से आती है. आप उसको किधर भी विकृत कर दें, दूध है उसका आप दही बनाइए, मिक्कर बनाइए या करिए, या उसको फाड़ दीजिए. पात्र की भी पात्रता होती है, इसलिए कला में जो पात्र होता है वो बहुत मायने रखता है और उसकी पात्रता भी बहुत मायने रखती है. अगर उसमें लिंग कहीं नहीं है, क्योंकि वो आत्मा से होता है, आत्मा कहीं नहीं है. मैं अर्जुन बनूंगी तो मैं नलिनी नहीं रहूँगी, आपको मेरे अंदर पुरुष नजर आएगा. ये राधा बनेगा तो आपको उसके अंदर ये नज़र नहीं आएगा, आपको एक राधा नजर आएगी. तो पात्रता अलग है, लेकिन कला एक चीज़ है जिसका पात्रता में समावेश होता है, तो वो बोलती है.
मैं आपको एक सिंपल सूत्र देना चाहूँगा जो एक्चुअली इज वैलिड फॉर एवरीबडी, जो आर्टिस्ट भी नहीं है. कुछ तेरा फिर कुछ मेरा, कि पहले जो हमारे सामने है वो जिस भाषा में है, वो जिस देश में है, उनको पहले जो अभिनव गुप्त कहते हैं साधारणीकरण, कि जो है उनसे जुड़ना, जो स्टेज है उनमें उनको इन्वॉल्व करना. मैं बहुत ये सहज भाषा में कह रहा हूँ. तो आप पहले अगर आप डांसर हो तो ऐसी कुछ चीज़ से शुरुआत करिए जहाँ सबकी आप अटेंशन कैच कर पाए, फिर वहाँ से आपको जो दिखाना है, अगर आपको राम की कथा सुनानी है पहले अटेंशन कैच करिए, फिर वहाँ से सुनाइए। उनको पहले आपके क्षेत्र में ले आए, वो अपने फ़ोन पे होंगे, वो कहीं और से आए होंगे, घर से झगड़ा करके आए होंगे, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती है। सो टू ब्रिंग देम इनटू आवर स्पेस इज आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, वी कैन नॉट एक्सपेक्ट देम टू बी इन आवर स्पेस, बट आफ्टर ब्रिंगिंग देम देन यू गिव देम, दैट्स व्हाई कुछ उनका फिर कुछ हमारा। इफ वी फॉलो दिस आई थिंक वी विल हैव अ गुड सक्सेस।
Just to add one aspect to what Sunil ji and Nalini ji just said, in the Indian tradition, in the Bharatiya Samskriti, the Kalavida and the Sahridaya are given an equal status. Saraswatyas Tattvam Kavi Sahridayakyam Vijayate. Abhinav Guptacharya from Kashmir, he says, the Sahridaya, the Samajika, the Sahridaya, the audience is as important as the artist. So, like Sunil ji said, we'll have to connect with them. So,
just a small question. Thank you for the wonderful session. Just wanted to understand how the art itself can be more economical. Means in perspective of she's a Odissi dancer, I am seeing her she has many followers and but she is working also in IT firm, and what she draws from IT firm can never be compared with what she is getting as a Odissi dancer. So means sometimes she also.
I understood your question. So all of us have been to it, which is why in my second last slide I said the P is patronization. Bharatiya Nritya Kala has been patronized since its inception. So by making it into a profession, there is a possibility, but we have to still keep the patronization, whether it's through getting government grants, whether it is through sponsors, that is required to support this. We cannot equate it immediately with another. Moment we start thinking that, we put on ourselves that added pressure. So it would be good to educate ourselves. Our government is giving many opportunities. Globally, there are many venues that can be approached to become patrons for Bharatiya Nritya Kala. You may meet someone here. So I think you have to be conscious about that, and that is the only way. It has been a part of it since the time of the Natya Shastra, where the temple was a patron, as I was saying. So we have to keep that in mind.